Alright, sorry if this video isn't up to my normal level of quality. I just don't care about this card at all, and it's 1:30 a.m. the night before the fights. So let's go to Tapology. First fight of the card. Oh, it's fucking Dolidze, Vettori. Full card predictions. First fight of the card. Yuneisy Duben versus Carli Judice. Duben actually has looked pretty solid. And Carli Judice is 3-2, 0-2 in the UFC. But she's a massive favorite, and I'm just gonna assume Vegas knows something I don't, because I do not have any interest in watching any of their fights. So I'm just gonna assume Judice is probably better. Okay, next fight of the card: Josiane Nunes versus Priscila Chachoeira. Priscila Chachoeira is really bad at fighting. Has some decent wins. Ariane Lipski, decent win. And Josiane Nunes did lose to Chelsea Chandler, but she went to a split decision with Cavalcanti, who I think is pretty solid. So I'm going to pick Josiane Nunes to win this fight. Maybe she'll lose. I'm not going to watch the first two fights. Okay, next fight of the card. Andre Lima versus Daniel Barez. I'm picking Andre Lima, much younger. Looked much better recently. Daniel Barez has a loss to Jafel Filio, who's not the best fighter. Last win is over Victor Altamirano. Pretty close fight. I don't think he arguably could have lost that, but things kind of went his way. I think that's more of why he won, rather than like I don't think he's massively better than Victor Altamirano. So I'm gonna pick Andre Lima. He could lose. Like he was losing. I wasn't losing, but he was having a close fight with Igor Severino before Severino bit him. And then split decision to Mitch Raposo, who I don't think is very good. And then looked good against Felipe dos Santos, who is solid, but not the best. So I think Andre Lima is solid, but I don't know if he's going to be all that. Obviously undefeated, but there's more to his resume than his record. Next fight of the card. Sam Hughes versus Stephanie Luciano. I'm not sure who to pick. I'll pick Sam Hughes because she beat Victoria Dudakova pretty clearly, who I think is pretty good. Like who I would pick to beat Stephanie Luciano, who went to a draw with Talita Alencar, who's not very good. Lost to a 3-1 opponent a couple fights ago. Obviously, Sam Hughes is 9-6, not a good look. Lost to Piera Rodriguez, not a good look. But her other recent losses to Yasmin Uregui, who I think is pretty underrated. So I'll go with Sam Hughes. She's an underdog, but what does Vegas know? Next fight of the card: Josias Musasa versus Carlos Vera. I'm gonna pick Musasa. I'll be honest, I've never watched him fight before. I mean, I think I watched his fight on the Contender Series, but he went to a split decision. Not a great look. He's a huge favorite, -800. Don't really know why. But then again, Carlos Vera did 0-1 in the UFC, lost to Rudy Nakamura. Hasn't aged that well. But I think Musasa might just KO him. Let me check if he's ever been KO'd before. Never been KO'd, so maybe he'll win. I think this guy's more of a grappler. Maybe not. He's got an ankle lock. Maybe he's a grappler. I don't know. I'm gonna pick Musasa. Huge favorite, probably for a reason. Could lose. A lot of those African prospects don't really pan out super well, especially ones that go to promotions that you don't hear about, if they're not like KSW or whatever Duplessis fought out of. Maybe not the best look. This guy's only been a pro for just over 2 years. But Impact Championship, Face Off Fight Night, Impact Championship, AKO, Nightmare FC. Not the best look. Beat an 0-0 guy, beat a 3-0 guy, beat an 0-0 guy, 0-1 guy, 1-0 guy, 6-1, 5-1, 9-0. Shouldn't be a huge favorite fighting a decent fighter. But maybe Carlos Vera is just pretty horrible. I don't know. He's got some decent wins over some decent people. Honestly, Carlos Vera probably a pretty good underdog. But I'll pick Musasa. Maybe he's the favorite for a reason. He's bigger. That helps. Missed weight. That helps. So, next fight of the card. Seung Yu versus AJ Cunningham. Yeah, I guess I'll pick Seung Yu. Huge favorite. I liked his performance in his last fight. He looked a guy. I made a guy. A good guy. Good fighter in Beijing. How do you pronounce that guy's name? Good fighter. Made him look bad in his last fight. Split decision to a pretty solid opponent on Road UFC. Doesn't get a lot of finishes, but he looked pretty good in the fights I've seen of him. And AJ Cunningham, big for the division, 5'10", 71-inch reach. But I forgot this guy's a lightweight. Yeah, first fight at bantamweight. A lot of his wins are against like questionable opponents. 2-6 and 4 guys. 8 and 10 guy. Lost in the Contender Series. Lost to Ludovic Klein, who's obviously really good. But it's clear that this guy loses to anyone that's pretty solid that he fights. He's a prospect out of Arkansas. A lot of those guys in smaller states have like some pretty mid competition, even if their opponents have decent records. And Seung Yu has looked good against good competition. So I'm going to pick him to win. It's also just shocking that AJ Young, the last fight was a year ago at lightweight. Now he's down to 135 and he made weight. So good for him. But I'll pick Seung Yu. I trust that he's fought better competition, and you know he's 3-0 at like a UFC level. And AJ Cunningham is 0-2. Yeah. Next fight of the card: Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Ryan Spann. I'm going to pick Ryan Spann because I just believe in the light heavyweight skill, the lighter man skill. And knocked out Dominic Reyes, which was kind of a fluke, but looked good in that fight. Nikita Krylov fight, he only had like 1 round of cardio, but when he was grappling in that fight, he looked really good. And I really don't think Waldo Cortes-Acosta has a good cardio and good grappling. Lost to Anthony Smith, not a great look. I think he had a draw to Sam Alvey too. You have to fact check that. No, split decision. Yeah, not a great look. But that was a while ago. I think he's pretty solid. Looked really good against OSP. And I also just think Waldo Cortes-Acosta is a complete fraud. Looked like shit against Shea Sherman. Lost to Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Lucas Bursky's pretty bad. He should have lost to Andre Arlovski, and then obviously Ribeiro to Spain. Not exactly what we thought he was going to be. I think Waldo Cortes-Acosta had another bad fight. Oh yeah, Vandera. He should have lost to Vandera too. That was kind of robbery. In the Vandera fight, he didn't check any low kicks. So if he does that again against a guy who's much more skilled than Ryan Spann, I think he's going to lose. Spann is an underdog. Again, I just don't know why. But then again, the odds are close in the Despane fight, and I didn't know why. And then Despane got whooped, so maybe Ryan Spann is worse than I think. But I think he's more proven. So I'll pick Ryan Spann. Next fight of the card, actual exciting fight. Kevin Vallejos versus Seung Woo-Choi. I'm gonna pick Kevin Vallejos. Looked good in the Contender Series. In his second go, he fought Cam Teague, who isn't very good, but he's 14-1 in his career. His only loss was on his first run in the Contender Series. Lost to Gene Silva, who we know is good now. He's only 23 years old. And he took a round off Gene Silva, which is a pretty good look. Seung Woo-Choi has been knocked out and has a good amount of losses pretty recently. Finished by Alex Caceres, not a great look. Split decision loss to Josh Kulebaum, not a great look. Knocked out by Michael Trezano and Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia is pretty solid, but Michael Trezano, not a very good loss. Only 1 win in the last about 4 years. Yeah, he's a lot bigger than Vallejos, which could be a problem. But if he starts trading, I think he's going to finish because Vallejos looks really good in the pocket. Looks really good with the pressure and volume. And Seung Woo-Choi has been finished by punches in 2 of his last 3 fights. So I think Vallejos will get it done by a finish. Next fight of the card, Diyar Nurgozhay versus Brendson Ribeiro. I don't really know. Look, I'm going to pick the Kazakhstani, however you pronounce his name, because he missed weight by 5 pounds, and I honestly think that's a good look. He's probably on steroids. It's the first fight in the UFC. Got a finish on the Contender Series, undefeated. Pretty weak competition. He beat the fake Magomed Magomedov. He beat like a 19-14 Dagestani in Eagle FC. Decent win on UAE Warriors. Decent win in the Contender Series. But he's looked solid in every fight I've seen him in. And I think Brendson Ribeiro is a little underrated. Was looking good with Ming Yang Zhang, and then got finished. Arguably beat Magomed Gaziashvilov on that Saudi card. I think it was Whitaker, Oliskarov, or was the one before that. And then beat Kyle Machado in a really boring fight. But I think he clearly won that fight. I don't know why it's a split decision. So he could be pretty solid. Like, I don't think he should be a big underdog here. I just think I'm going to, you kind of got to go with the roided up, undefeated Kazakhstani. So, good. Yeah, just another good underdog pick. Honestly, I think a good parlay would be Carlos Vera, AJ Cunningham, and what's his name? Brendson Ribeiro. You'd probably get like plus 15,000 on that. Those are good odds. All right, next fight of the card. Damon Blackshear, Cody Gibson. I'll pick out Blackshear. Got another huge favorite. So many of these fights just like last how many fights? Damon Blackshear minus 500 favorite. Nurgozhay 400 favorite. Minus 600 favorite for Vallejos. Seung Yu minus 600 favorite. Josias Musasa minus 800 favorite. Minus 240, minus 400. There's a lot of big favorites on this card. Minus 370. So I think my picks are probably pretty good, unless there's a lot of upsets, because I'm picking the favorites. And usually the favorites win. So yeah, but I'm picking Damon Blackshear. Not the cleanest record, 15-7-1, but he's fighting a guy who also doesn't have a very clean record in Cody Gibson. Yeah, Cody Gibson has some losses recently that I'm like, like Brad Katona. I don't think Brad Katona is very good. Miles John's pretty bad loss. Damon Blackshear lost to Mario Bautista, who we know is pretty good, but he took that fight on like a week's notice. Like he fought Jose Johnson, beat him by Twister, and fought like 2 weeks later on a pay-per-view card. I think on the main card. So I don't hate that as a loss. Mario Bautista, we know he's pretty good. Beat Jose Aldo, allegedly. And then the loss to Montel Jackson, that was just kind of a mistake that a lot of people make. He just threw a leg kick really early in the fight, left himself open, got chinned. Obviously you don't love to see it when you're picking the guy, but I don't think it's a sign that he's like a bad fighter. And then in his last fight against Cody Stamann, he retired Cody Stamann, looked pretty good. And I think Cody Gibson is just not a very great fighter. Wins over Chad Annalier and Brian Kelleher most recently. Only wins in the UFC in his more recent run. So, also pretty old. Damon Blackshear is 30, but Cody Gibson is 37. So it's like all the problems I have with Damon Blackshear, like kind of sketchy looking record, a little old. It's worse for Cody Gibson. So. Next fight of the card, Kurt Holobaugh versus Alexander Hernandez. I'm just going to pick Hernandez. I hate watching both these fighters fight. They love to go to decision and fight bums. So I'm just going to pick Hernandez because Vegas picked him as a favorite, and I'm not going to watch that fight. Co-main event, Leslie Zaleski dos Santos versus Chidi Njokuani. Chidi Njokuani missed weight, looked really good and technical, and his last fight against Jared Gooden kind of beat him up in the clinch, used the Muay Thai. Looked pretty good at his just recent welterweight run. Losses, middleweight to Gregory Rodriguez, who we know is good. Oleksiejczuk is a big power puncher at 205. I'm sorry, at 185 and 205. And then Duraev, who's just a mediocre 85er. And then I think Leslie Zaleski is pretty solid, but I don't know. I just think that Njokuani is going to be able to get the clinch and kind of beat him up and win the fight there. Leslie Zaleski beat Zach Scroggin, who's not the best. Close fight with Randy Brown, but I think things went his way and he still lost. Draw with Renat. Renat's not very good. Boubacar split decisions, but Boubacar isn't very good. Good fight against Benoit, but that was 3 years ago. Benoit isn't all we thought he was going to be. I just think Nurgozhay is going to beat him up in the clinch. Not finish him, but just win a decision. Kind of how like Randy Brown lost to Brian Battle. So, and then main event. I'm just gonna I really don't. I might not even watch this card at all. I'll just pick Vettori because he won the first fight. It wasn't that long ago. Probably hasn't regressed very much. I don't really know what Dolidze's going to do to beat him. Like he beat Kevin Holland by taking him down and forcing an injury, I guess. And then Anthony Smith is just horrible. Like anyone can beat him. Well, on paper he can beat anyone, but anyone can beat him in actuality. And then like fights that he's fought like decent fighters in, like the Amavov fight, who is good, obviously. And the last Vettori fight, he just looks like he has nothing. Like he looks like he's just like a good grappler with no takedowns, and no way to like impose his will. So, like same as the Trevin Giles fight, it's like, what is he gonna do? Like he's not gonna outstrike him on the outside. He's not gonna chin Vettori. He's not gonna like take him down and submit him. I mean, he could, but I don't think he's going to. And Vettori can just like beat him the way he's beaten everyone he's ever beaten, which just like outlasting him. So, same way I beat Cortes-Acosta, just like gas him out by making them, throw punches and shit. I don't know. I'm not. This fight's gonna suck. This is I feel like when the UFC was at its worst, like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, which is I guess when the first fight happened. This is the kind of fight you see, just like two not very good, not entertaining fighters. So there's that. Those are my picks. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. I guess another thing I want to talk about is kind of what's next for the fighters that fought last weekend. I want to see Yuri get a title shot. I just think that it's going to be kind of his last chance. And Pereira is like 38, and if he's going to take time off and get the rematch, he's just going to be older and unimproved and probably going to lose again. And if there's one time to kind of fix things up at heavyweight, it's now. Just like pick the champion you want to pick, make them fight Pereira. It'll be a big fight. It'll be good for Aspinall if you do it as his first actual title defense for the real belt, and it'll be good for Jones if you want to have it as a send-off fight. If you win, you're a huge star because Pereira's the biggest guy in the sport right now. There's that. Yeah. I guess while I'm here, I don't know if there's a better time to talk about it. Another fight I want to see at kind of what they can do at bantamweight and flyweight is that they're talking about making Kai Kara-France versus Pantoja. I think they could hold that off. Like I really think he should be at least 2-fight winning streak to get a title shot. I think they should just send Pantoja up to bantamweight, fight and rob. There's no like clear, title shot earners at bantamweight either. I think they should do O'Malley versus what's his name, Jan, in the rematch for 5 rounds. Kind of make like a good fight of that. That's something people want to see. Jan obviously got 50-45 by Merab. O'Malley kind of got dominated at times. So I think both of them kind of need to legitimately earn a title shot. Jan more than O'Malley, but obviously Jan's done more in the interim. Had the fight with Yadong, had the fight with Figueiredo. So I think if he beats O'Malley, he's earned a title shot. And O'Malley obviously hasn't done anything since he lost, so he needs to do anything to earn a rematch. So yeah, and then obviously at 125, I think what they should do is just make Manel Kape versus Kai Kara-France. So whoever wins that fight is like a clear title shot earner. I really just think they should do that at 125 instead of having all the contenders just fight Moreno or fight Royval, guys who basically cannot earn a title shot going forward because they've already fought Pantoja twice or thrice. They should just make the contenders fight each other so it's guaranteed to be a title shot contender instead of just making the title shot contenders lose to the guys who aren't contenders, like they did with Tatsuro Taira and like they did with Kai Kara-France the first time around and like they did with Albazi. It's like if those guys won their fights, they get a title shot. Like if they just made Albazi and Taira fight each other, probably would have been a shitty fight, but the winner would be the clear title shot earner. But instead they made Taira fight Royval, who won and lost all his hype, and they made Albazi fight Moreno, who, Albazi didn't have any hype, but he lost his right to earn a title shot by losing. So they don't have to do that if Pantoja goes up to bantamweight. He's arguably the champion right now who has cleared his division the most and has earned a shot up the most. And the UFC hasn't talked about it at all. They're talking about Ilya after one defense going up, which is like, I don't hate that. It's a big fight. They should make big fights when they're there. But if anyone's earned it, it's Pantoja. So make Pantoja versus Merab, I think, is the move. Pantoja, Merab, Jan, O'Malley, Manel Cab versus Kakar France. You do all those fights, none of them fall out, and you've got clear champions. You've got a chance at double champs. You've got contenders who are clear. I don't know why you don't do it. So, all right, there's my yapping. I spent way too much. Honestly, this video should have been 5 minutes long. Those are my picks. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Subscribe, like the video. I'm pretty tired. I don't know if you can tell. It's 2 a.m. Enjoy the card. Hopefully, it's got some bangers on it. I think it's gonna be a lot of beatdowns, maybe a lot of finishes. So maybe there's something to enjoy in it. But I really don't. I don't want to watch this card. So I'll tweet out a parlay. Follow me on Twitter. Links in the description. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.